All right, cool. So we'll start off. Just describe Evy Tea in a few sentences. What you guys do and what you're all about.
So Evy Tea is a cold brew tea company, and we consider ourselves the innovative American iced tea company. So the goal of the company is to disrupt how iced tea industry functions as a whole. Get rid of the sugar water, bring up the value proposition of iced tea, and opened up a whole new consumer, generation for that drink.
Cool. And how would you describe your kind of voice on social media, how you represent yourself on social channels?
I think for one of the bigger selling points, at least, that would make us a little different compared to other iced tea companies, that my name, which is Evy, is in the name of Evy Tea. So a lot of what Evy Tea is about is my journey of being an entrepreneur, being an immigrant, being a woman, being a person who creates products, who try to scale this. So a lot of this is more of a real voice behind entrepreneurship. So I'm more of a storytelling model.
I definitely get that in your posts.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of like inspire. Like I don't do a lot of like what do they call it? Those social media rah-rahs. Like look at how beautiful my life is, and like follow my account so you can experience that and imagine what it would be like to be me, right? I don't do any of that. So I just basically record my day-to-day and have that be a brand voice on social media. So people who follow me tend to kind of wonder like what I'm up to, and the only way to keep up with me is on social media. So they can't get that content anywhere else.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I do my social media.
Yeah, that's so true. And what channels seem to work best for you for telling that story?
Instagram. So I've experimented with Facebook, and with all their algorithm, it just if you don't pay for it, your post will never get seen. And I realized that a lot of people on Facebook are older folks. So as I started to understand better of who's actually buying my stuff, I realized that Instagram is a better tool. I just started to explore LinkedIn a little bit more. So I'll say my 2020 goal is to figure out Instagram and LinkedIn, the two of them.
Yeah, that's something that we're kind of digging into too, is how you can use LinkedIn not just for networking, but also for like marketing a product and talking to your fan base and your target audience. And my next question, you kind of touch on it, but do you have a target audience on social?
I do. So if you look at like who drinks my stuff, like fortunately, a lot of it is women of my age. So it's definitely a lot more millennial heavy. So there's about 78% of my total audience are millennials. So you and I basically, those are the people that I typically talk to on social media that kind of respond a little bit more. And then I get a lot of like stalkers in a way that they don't stalk me, but they don't participate in the conversation.
Just kind of throw a like out there every once in a while.
They look at it. They look at the content. They will absorb it. They are following along my story, but they don't engage. So my followers tend to be women, in their late 20s and early 30s, and so that's sort of a millennial stretch. That tend to echo with me a little bit better.
Cool. And do you use any tools, it sounds like you did with Facebook, to measure how things are working, your ROI?
So I did at the beginning of my social media journey. I wanted to know what I'm getting out of the thing. And so as I started working I even hired a social media consultant for like a couple months to like help me understand what posts do better and so on and so forth. And very quickly I realized, because of how quickly the algorithm changes, there are a few basic rules. You got to just keep up with content, right? If you post every Monday, it has to post every Monday. So that sort of stuff really helps with engagement, and you can see it at the stats page on social media, like Instagram in particular. You can be like, okay, this one got more engagement, blah, blah, blah. But then as a small business owner, you can't just spend all day analyzing it. So I'm more like, okay, I'll post when I have a story to tell, when I have something to share, and not sweat so much of, oh my God, my engagement dropped 20 this week.
Yeah. And have you been able to use social specifically to collaborate with other brands that maybe you normally wouldn't have been able to?
I use social in a very different way compared to a lot of other brands I know, because most of the brands use it as a pure marketing channel. They don't really expect sales out of it unless they have a very direct model where they can click on this and go to this. Then they can measure, okay, this helps with sales or not. I use social media mostly as a primary marketing tool, obviously, but also as a sales tool. So a lot of accounts that I don't get to engage with. So for example, your company buys stuff from a distributor. I don't get to talk to you ever, right? So how would I ever provide the support? How would I ever help you sell my product? It's very difficult traditionally. But luckily, a lot of the people who are buying my stuff now, who are managers, are our age and they have social media, Instagram. So I do a lot of customer service. I do a lot of like maintenance. I do a lot of like generations of leads through Instagram. So that's no longer just a marketing tool for me. It's also a sales tool. And I'll have sales reps who are working for particular distributors going out there and be like, hey, can you help me with this account? Oh, absolutely. Give me their handle. So I'll engage with them directly. I'll chat with them, so on and so forth. So it's a combo of marketing and sales tool for me. And I no longer look at marketing just as marketing. I look at it more of, I have a story to tell. So the more bases of points I can have, touch points of telling that same story, the better, right? It might not be quote grit every day, but like it's all within that rim. So if I consistently tell the story, you just don't know who's listening.
Yeah. And what advice would you give? I know every company is a little bit different, and the strategy that you use is definitely unique. But for a company who has never really touched social media, small business in Boston, is there any basic tips you'd give them advice-wise?
Not every business is right for social media, in my opinion. Like if you have a painting company, like why would you spend so much time on like Instagram, right? Like I feel like Instagram and other platforms are great if you have a very specific goal that you want to get out of it. If you wanted to generate business, I don't think quote social media is like the best way to go about it unless you can like actually spend some time like working it and like building relationships with people. So it's not a cure-all for all your marketing problems. I would say for smaller businesses, just start following accounts and see what other people are doing first and see what works for them, because you can see some basic data in terms of like how many people liked this and how many comments are there, so on and so forth. Like learn a trade first from others. Talk to other similar business owners, like what worked for you. Don't just follow through at like what other people are doing, because then you're just one of like 0.01%. You're not gonna appear on anybody's pages. And offline, if you have a social media account, make sure that you have offline presence somehow. Like you need to be able to like actually see your consumers and talk to them. Don't rely 100% on social media. That's
almost like hiding behind your account, actually getting in front of it and going to these events like at District Hall and.
I mean, just like people don't follow you just for the sake of following. They have to find some value. Think about it as a value add. What value are you creating for your customers or whatever that is through social media? If it's all every single day you're like, buy my stuff, what value are you creating? You're not creating anything. You're taking it away. So making sure that your value add is part of the solution when you're on social media. So if you're connecting with somebody online and offline, hey, what's your Insta? That's a great way of connecting dots and like following through that conversation. That works. You're just like yelling at social media all day long, like nobody's gonna
unfollow. And have you been able to use social media to handle any issues out there or crises that you've had with product or with customer service?
Yeah, for sure. And it's scary nowadays because in the past, if a journalist was gonna reach out to you about an article, they would run it by the person who's in the story first. Fact checking, whatever. Now, whatever you put out there is out there. And most journalists feel good enough of just grabbing photos and content directly from social media. Most of the time, they don't even ask you about it. That could create potential problems. So I've had issues where I was helping out a distributor. I was launching with a new distributor. I posted it on social media, not realizing that other distributors, salespeople, follow me on social media on their personal accounts. And I don't necessarily always know who they are, right? Because we're in 2,000 outlets. There are at least a couple hundred like people that I work with on the sales level. And I really pissed them off. And they're like, you're promoting them? Why? Why are you promoting them?
Oh my god.
That created a lot of problem for me. So from then on, like I had to like change my strategy of like just not throw everything online. I had to like think about it before I actually post. But yeah, I actually had to reach out to all those salespeople like on Instagram, and like I have to text them, I have to email them, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's just, yeah, it was not good.
Cool. Well, that's all the questions I have.
Cool.
Just for the record, for this interview, I want to say I'm drinking a chocolate chai from Evy, and it's amazing. So thank you.
Great. No, but honestly, it's different for everybody. There's no Bible for this stuff. So when I go on like panels and stuff, people are like, "What's the best ROI you've ever gotten out of marketing?" And I was like, I guess consistency. Whatever you choose to do, just do it consistently.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of what we want to talk to as many folks from small businesses, the most diverse we can do, so that to kind of get people to realize like it is different for everybody. And even if you are doing another, say, tea company, like that's going to be so different than yours. Like every company, doesn't even matter the industry. It's all a very personal story that you're telling. So it's more so about how can you do that. You tell your personal story from the best way possible, not kind of mimicking somebody else.
And it's always personal on social media. I'm sorry if people tell you otherwise, but it's always personal. You would need the personal connection to be connected to people, right? So if you're not comfortable putting yourself out there and you're just hiding behind the business, like that's the one thing I've seen that doesn't work.
Just having the company logo and not the person, and just kind of
not
getting involved offline, and just
it's just like oh, that's marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, great, your stuff is on sale. I don't care.
Yeah, might as well be like a print ad with coupon on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What value are you adding? Right. Go back to the same thing. So.
Cool. Well, thank you.
No problem.